Hello again and welcome to another episode of Lost in Translations. We're going to continue our last conversation on social media and the effect that it has. So welcome to part 2. If you haven't seen the first one, look, it's not a sequel to this, so watch in any order you want, but we're going to jump straight now into where we landed last time, which was, social media only really having the worst effect if you have heart issues attached to what you're then letting out of you. And we sort of finished by saying, hey, if you start to notice things in you, what's in you will come out. What comes out is what you start pressing, what you start seeing more of. It amplifies it. I know, Scott, you've had a few discussions earlier around this stuff.
Yeah.
You had some thoughts on the hard issue around social media.
So I think if you realise and you've got a problem, you're always comparing yourself. So I think there's a bit of nuance around this too, because as we said in part 1, it's not just you have a heart issue. I think there are innate things in us as humans that these things tap into and so kind of hack essentially, which is the addiction part of us or the validation part. But if you're noticing you've got a problem, that's when you got to take the practical steps. I noticed like the last 2 months for me, so probably not 2 months, maybe the last month, with all sport finished, I was not putting the TV on. So this is not social media, but same thing, attention being taken on other things. And I was just reading at night. And I read a lot, but this is like I could actually sit down for an hour and invest time in a book. And now I've got...
Is this 50 Shades of Grey you just finished?
What's that? Never heard of it, mate.
What's the Mills? Is it Mills and Boone? Who's the Fabio guy who was always on the... Anyway, let's kick up.
Sorry.
Mate, highly spiritual books, theology, getting deep into the heart of Jesus.
Of course. Tell us what you learned.
Yeah, absolutely. But what now? I've got like a new rhythm. Essentially, now I've got like a new practice, a new ritual where, NBA started back up again. So now I've got to balance out the fact that I want to get in and watch some NBA, but at the same time, I don't want to just throw away that extra time or that thing which I feel is investing more in my life, which I've kind of been able to do over the last month or two. So I think practically, as a Christian, when you're starting to realise, it's bringing things up in me. And Dan, you were talking about this earlier. It's very easy, and we do this with people as well. Someone annoys us, they got the problem.
Yeah.
When God might be able to actually be trying to say, "There's something in you I want to work out of you, character. Let's look at it." And a great humble question to ask is, God? What are you trying to teach me? Like, there's something in me that you're potentially highlighting through social media. What can I do about it? And I think practical steps are good because these things are hard to get away from. Delete some apps off your phone for a while and then reintroduce it, or just get off it.
It is so hard. I love it. Hashtag get off it, team. I agree. Laura was telling me for a while to delete, she didn't delete it. She used to just have breaks. I'm just going to go off it for a week. I struggled to do it until I actually deleted the app. I literally couldn't not go to it if it was on my phone. The minute I deleted the app, I felt free. I actually felt free from it because I made the decision. And then when I put it back on, I was really aware of it. I had to wait like a week or two, but even now I can feel it. I've been using it more and more. I'm going to get rid of it. It just takes that couple of days to break the habit. Earlier on, we spoken about how people use social media. I mean, a big thing I want to touch on, because I know people are going to ask the question, how churches are using social media in a positive light, good and bad, but it's so crowded on social media in church life, from the welcome videos to what your church is doing, from the church music you put out there to what's happening at church. It's an overload. Knowing the dangers of, say, comparison, do we feel that it's being used right? I'm going to ask you.
What's the complaints email?
Yeah, Dan.
Brody.com, brodyandScott.com.au.
I don't look. Just as a disclosure, I don't think necessarily bad, but Christian culture, a great example is the competitiveness in just the worship music. It's like a race to see who, and it's the same for, say, big preachers. We see it. We know it's there. Churches do it too. Big, small, doesn't matter. If they've got a church, they've got an Instagram account. They're putting stuff out there because they want people to see it.
Yeah, I think let's just establish, first of all, that there is, I think, a great amount of good that can come out of churches using social media. That's actually what
There's more good than bad.
I do believe that.
100%.
There's no doubt. I believe there's a lot of great stuff that comes out of it, can help people, empower people, equip them, inspire them, encourage them. No doubt in my mind, anyway. But it definitely also drags out the narcissistic side of. Man, I'm going to probably lose a few friends here. The narcissistic edge of, pastors. And look, I'm just going to tell you something. The boys that are in this group chat know, if they ever watch this, they'll know who they are. I have a group chat with about 6 pastors in different parts of the world. And as an example, we will, if you're on social media, you see pastors that will post a photo of themselves with a quote with their name, Pastor so-and-so, and the photos of them.
Yeah, gotcha.
I just think sometimes there's that element where if the insecurity is in a man and a pastor, I think this draws out a lot of comparison with churches and ministers. And oh my gosh, Johnny up the road is, the photo of the crowd shot with the nice LED light at the back and the smoke machines and it just looks incredible, amazing. But my church looked crap and feels crap. Man, I hate this.
Right.
I think there's a lot of that can happen that's unspoken, which is obviously, I'm not blaming Johnny up the road. Like, it's not necessarily his fault, but I think there is a lot of comparison that is going on. There's an undercurrent which would not be spoken about. But I would say, man, I think I have had conversations away from any public context with people.
This is just us here. No one's watching this. Don't worry about that.
That's right. But I definitely, that sort of... So that group chat I told you about, we're all pastors and we've seen it and we don't like it, and we actually post in our little group chat in WhatsApp. Like, I will send a photo of me where I preach somewhere and I've got I've got my arms sort of the right way, and then it'll have, where you go is where you'll be, Pastor Dan Pike here. And we just flick things backwards. We are taking the mickey out of it, but in all honesty, I think there is a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of this comparison game, and it kind of grates me.
It goes back to the original, the thought we landed on, sweet spirit, on both sides.
Yeah.
If there's a security and a sweet spirit in Johnny, he's probably less likely to post every photo someone takes of him because he doesn't care. If there's a sweet spirit in me who wants to be like Johnny, I'm not going to be irked every time I see it. So it's kind of on both sides.
Yep.
So there's also... there's 2 sides to it. I'll tell you one thing that gets, just while we're on this what grinds my gears section. This is what I don't understand, right?
Yes.
I just don't get it. This is my statement. Instagram is the only place where someone can give you a shout out, and then you can share it and give yourself your own little shout out. And I don't understand where the humility is in this. But everyone, it's like it happened one time. And like the first person that ever did this as a Christian, right? The first pastor got tagged and something was like, Pastor Dan preaching the house down photo. And then Pastor Dan just decided, look, no one else has done this, but I'm just going to reshare this.
This
right?
is good for me.
I'm just going to see what happens. Reshares it. And then everyone kind of goes, I think we can just reshare. I think we can do it. I think it's okay. It's not okay. Like, get off it. That's it. It's not okay. Because there's no humility in it. If you did that on the street, if someone came up and said, man, if you said, hey, Brody, I just love the way you spoke this morning.
Great example. And then I tell somebody else.
No, I just say, just hold on one second. Hey, boys, come over here.
Yeah, that's
Could you just say that exactly how you said it? Go.
Yes. Wow.
So they hear it. Man, it's like...
That's weird.
It is weird, but they all do it.
Yeah.
They all do it.
That's
Laura
weird.
told me, when we started just putting out our worship music, she said, under no circumstances, she said, Brody, no matter who tags, no matter what happens, you never reshare you never reshare it. And I said, agreed. I agreed.
Look, I'm just gonna jump on another grinding gear thing.
into
This
it.
is good. Again, let me just lay the platform, just so in case anyone gets
We
all
know
upset.
you love
Lay the
pastors.
trap.
I
Is
get
it a
it.
platform or a trap?
Trap platform, whatever you want to call it. We love the church, right?
It's not about the church.
We love pastors.
It's
we
about
love
the people.
With that church is the people.
Yeah, go ahead.
Church is not a building. Oh, is it a building? That's another topic.
Episode 5.
That is like, man, the whole, if I'm with a
I know what it is.
celebrity preacher, yes, and I get a photo with celebrity preacher, but then my caption is, I just love. Let's say Scott's the celebrity preacher. I just love Scott. The impact and the influence on my life that he has had has been one of the greatest in my life. I'm so appreciative of his passion, his heart for Jesus. But actually, everything I'm doing is about me. I'm just letting everyone know I'm with him.
Of course.
That's a grind gear for me. That grinds my gears.
Do you reckon the people that are taking these photos, if they hear this, they go, they're only saying that because they don't have enough followers? They're bitter.
Yeah, this game will Dan's not famous. Brody's a
He's
nobody.
just saying it because he does have a big church.
Heart problem. Well,
problem.
Wow, man,
He's got an issue.
I don't know how this has got onto this from the heart issue.
what's what's in here?
This is like-
What's in here?
How
Comes
the,
out.
how the abundance of the mouth speaks.
Oh, this is an intervention.
No, but look, going back in a serious way, I think there's a lot of good stuff, but I just feel like, it can get a little bit.
There's more good than bad.
Yeah, it can get It can get very murky though, very murky within the church and how everybody's, because you got to get the angles right. Some of the photos, people work hard for angles. I'm talking about a crowd shot, and I've got to ask. You got to ask the question why. It's a social media becomes a shop window, the shop front.
Yep.
But I've been to churches where I've been speaking, and I've looked at their websites, and social media looks insane, like intensely incredible.
You're fired up.
Yeah, and then you get there, it's like, man, have I walked into a drug den?
Yeah. Is this the same church?
Yeah. So I'm honestly thinking to myself, if I'm an unchurched person and I'm looking online and then I turn up, I feel like I'm going to be really bitterly disappointed.
That's horrible.
Yeah, just give me just tell me what you like. Just be honest with me. Just be upfront. Like whatever you got,
Yeah.
it's all good. I think that can be, there's things like that, and I think we just got to be careful in the church. And man, just
This comes back to using the world's methods to try and build God's kingdom. Just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
No, and it just leaves you with a bitter taste in your mouth. Like people, people coming in for the first time and it's just a big show, or it's it's actually a drug den and it's not the 5-star.
People are like, "Where is the show? I came here for a show."
Yeah, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's dead. Yeah, that's hard. That's not good. That's not what it should be about. That's another kingdom. The other one, yeah. But I think criticizing the methods rather than the heart behind it. Like you say, like these things expose in us what's inside of us. So that's where you got to take a look and say.
Well, the problem is it's everyone's. If we're talking in the church sense, it's because we're all doing it. So it's like you need everyone at the same time to go. It's like in World War, they stopped on Christmas Day and said, no shooting on Christmas Day or whatever day it was. It's like and we're going to come together, break bread, we're going to swap cigarettes and do what they did. And then, they had that pause. It's almost like you need everyone at once. Every pastor, every church to go, tomorrow we're going to drop the act.
It's true, because it becomes an arms race,
It's
doesn't
kind
it?
of it's like you go on 3, 1, 2, and then they go and they go, we're going to keep posting some good photos, and then they've jumped. So it's a hard one, because once you're in the zone as well, unless you've got someone who steps up and says, hey, I reckon we should go this direction, how do you stop? Especially if it's working. If you're growing and if it's working, how do you stop? Because like we've said earlier, lots of things can grow. Doesn't necessarily mean that God's hand is on it. So at what point do you go, I think we're doing this and it's working, but it doesn't feel right, because you've been faced with that kind of dilemma. And I just think social media is a massive one for the comparison is the big one. Comparison is where everyone's posting to compare. the more you get into it, the more you start taking. I mean, everyone's a photographer now. There's never been
And
more
is it-
photographers.
And it has to obviously be about building ministries as well. Building ministries where the metrics are, I've got lots of followers, this looks amazing, all the external things that really don't matter in the end. What was Paul talk about? You built it with material things that are just going to burn away.
Yep.
Set our hearts on the kingdom.
Does it? Do you think it does matter? Like, if I had, I've got like 50 followers or whatever on Instagram. I don't know, but
are we going to do a thing where if you get 1,000, we do something special?
wow, can we?
I think at last year
Does
he
it-
had 3,500.
They're gone now.
So it doesn't matter if
They're all his users, all his followers are like
Bots?
XYZ dot 5556.
So that's my question is it doesn't matter if I have 500,000, 20 million, because there is a train of thought that a school of thought out there that we should as Christians increase our social media presence, because with that comes elements of influence
And I agree
to
with
advance the gospel. Yes,
Absolutely.
same.
Yeah.
But so I've just a personal thing. I just almost can't be bothered. So before COVID, I was on the road a lot, away 40 plus weekends a year preaching, etc. I had a lot of guys tell me that when I go to a church, they send you a rider sheet, like everything you like, blah blah blah. I've had guys tell me that what I should have done was, and what I should when I was in the thick of it all, is send through an image with my Instagram handle, my Facebook handle. So whenever I get up to preach, wherever it is, that's up on the screen. So then people are sitting in their chair, they're going, I like this guy. Well, oh, there's his Instagram, so I'll get on and click follow. And the idea was to build my followers that way. I just kind of struggle with it. Personally, I never did it. Not because I think it's wrong either. It was just something I wrestled with. But I guess the question is it's not always bad, to grow your followership.
No, and
That's a question I'm asking.
yeah, and I think same again. Heart.
Yeah, it comes back
Heart.
to that.
I think if
I'm doing it because I want, I want people to see me, more me, not good.
I think if I had 1 million followers 6 years ago, it would be the worst thing for me. But I think now I just don't care about it, at all. At least I think that. I mean, you never know until you're in the thick of it. That's the reality. But I definitely know as a younger man, it would have been terrible for me, because there was so much of what about me was ego-driven and materialistic, and all the things that basically you shouldn't be going after as a Christian. It would have been terrible for me. Now, I think there's so many guys who do it well.
Yeah.
A great example, not a Christian, but a great example is someone like Gary Vee. I would say his social media, surely it's got to be like 90+% positive. Like, people are having a positive impact, surely, by everything he does and says. What do you think? I mean, an analytical background, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know him much? You don't follow him much?
I don't know. I don't.
Basically, everything he does is don't worry about what other people think. You do you. It's always reassuring. It's always
Is that a brand thing for him, or is he?
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is his
definitely,
brand.
yeah.
It's his
Yeah.
brand. It's his thing. But at the same time, the message is positive and the message is good. And I agree with basically most things he
Most of
says.
it.
Yeah.
I think he's using it incredibly well, and he's encouraging other people in a really good way. So I think it comes down to your position again, your heart, and what you're like as a person.
It's an interesting thing, because I think I agree. We have to be out there in the areas where people are. And what I find disappointing is this, the social dilemma. Why isn't it like the churches nowhere to be seen, and they call it the tech blowback, which has been happening say the last 3 or 4 years of like, hey, this is not good. And so are we just like, the church should be leading on these things, and these companies who are like, hey, we're going to replicate physical spaces and online spaces, and we should be in those areas doing things to encourage and help people grow, whether they're Christian or not. But yeah, I'd building. So if I was going to put a lot of time into Instagram and get lots of followers to build a ministry,
Yeah.
God can use whatever He wants. But I think the question has to come back to is that building my ministry, or building the kingdom of God? I don't know, because I'm saying I start thinking about it, I get tired. It's like the gerbil wheel. Like, why would you get on that?
The mouse wheel.
Yeah, and just be, because it's like the Instagram influencers. My brother-in-law knew a guy who would take snaps, and he loved to do it. But once you get into that world of you're taking a lot of snaps on Instagram and getting likes, and then he was starting to get sponsorships with camera companies, etc.
Yep.
You are locked into that, because as soon as you drop off for a day or two and you're not posting all the time, so it owns you. You're just a slave to it. So is that the same with ministry? I've got to put up my little snippets
Yeah.
a couple of times.
There
a week.
would be the pressure there, I
Yeah,
suppose.
you got to dial in because people
Get on the wheel.
Yeah, they say the engagement. You got to keep people engaged. You got to keep it. So if you drop off, like I haven't posted anything for ages. I've literally been in a fetal position because my followership's been just declining. Brody's like, why are you in a fetal position, man?
You can't afford the bots anymore.
No, I can't. Afford
Do you do packages here at Whitehorse Studios?
What's
Bot, Instagram bots.
Absolutely.
I've heard just for a friend. How much are they?
Isn't it? Was it 10,000 followers, $200? Something like that.
Easy cash.
I actually lost what you guys are saying because my phone went off,
Oh, right.
my smartwatch went off. I was so overloaded with tech. I don't know what you guys were talking about.
Like I can't do it anymore.
It is.
So-
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, go for a minute.
Oh, I was just thinking, like we kind of talking about maybe some answers.
Yeah, let's bring some solutions.
Some solutions.
I was going to scroll Instagram. You guys.
Do you think this falls into the category of like if I'm struggling with a deep rooted fear or pornography, lust, I can pray till the cows come home, but I can be bound up with this thing for decades or whatever. So do you think social media falls into a category like that where yes, we need prayer. Yes, we need to address our heart, but the context of community. In other words, I need to bring this form of addiction, whether I'm on Instagram 10 hours a day or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Does.
Is that a thing that will help bring change to people? The
Talking
element
about
of accountability, talking about it, saying, "Oh man, I'm actually wrestling with this. This is, man, I can't put the phone down. I'm looking for the likes. I'm looking for the validation, and it is a real issue. But because this is a question. I think maybe it is that context of bringing it into community and relationship and accountability. To say, hey, this is really affecting my inner world.
And it would be so hard
It would be
because,
the shame.
well, so if you were to categorize, if social media was an addiction versus, say, playing the pokies and watching pornography or whatever, those things, the pokies, if you were to give that up, you wouldn't feel like you're missing out culture, like in a community.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Pornography, it's something you do. I'm guessing people don't do it in a group. So you're not missing out, in a community.
No.
You know what I mean? But social media, to put the biggest thing that pulls you is that FOMO, that fear of like.
Great point.
And I had it too. When I got rid of Instagram, my mind for a second was like, you're not going to know what's going on. And I thought about it, I was like, well, nothing's ever going on. I see all of it and nothing is going on ever. So it's going to be different for every generation though.
Yeah. But that's a good point though, because if you're using those two, gambling is quite a personal thing.
Yeah,
People generally don't gamble in groups either.
no,
No, there's
not when
no-
it's an
I-
addiction. They don't.
No. And someone who's addicted to porn does not watch it in groups. It's like it's a very individualistic thing. But whereas social media is an
Well, everyone's
individual,
doing it.
but it's an individual. Like I'm sitting here, but it's a
Well, how do you know it's a problem? Because so there's some people who can be on social media and it's not a problem.
yep.
But there's some people who can go to the casino and it's not a problem. Some people who have a beer, it's not a problem. But so for social media, it's kind of this thing where it's a problem for me, but it's not a problem for all of them. So how do I have accountability with all of them? I've got to take myself out, but they all get to do it. They all get to be in the community still, but I've got to, because I can't stop doing it. It would be so hard. It's going to be harder for our our children as well. Any last thoughts?
Well, this is going back to Tristan Harris on the little tips they were given on their podcast. They talk about this, especially with kids, because I can be teaching my kids something in the home around social media. They go to their friend's house, they're playing, they're just on it all the time. Yeah. So they encourage people to get, if you can get a friendship group to sort of agree as parents, hey, when my kids go over your house, kick them outside and let them shoot hoops or kick the footy around, go for a swim. Because like you say, I may be making decisions and then I get around people who are doing the exact same thing. Because if you went up to someone and said, I've got a gambling problem, they wouldn't laugh at you. I think if you said, oh yeah, I've got a real problem with social media, like I'm just scrolling all the time, well, you just laugh at it.
While they're telling you, you'd probably be going, oh, that's good, mate.
Oh, you've been on such pages, he helps you with social media addiction.
Scott's going, I've got a problem with social media, I'm on social media. Oh, yeah? What are you doing to get rid of it? Oh, sweet. What was that? I know. So, socially so hard. But if you said, I've got a gambling problem, all right, we won't go to the casino.
Serious, yeah.
We won't go to the casino. It's obviously an issue. It's a weird one because you have to kind of make the call, do I have a problem? I think I would say a large percentage of people at some point are going to have to go, I have a problem. The good thing is it's actually easy to break.
Yeah.
It's like there'll be a weight to doing it, but when you do it, you kind of realise, oh, that was easier. It's like salvation. There's always this massive weight to I want to get someone saved. And then as soon as you do, I fought it for years. As soon as you do it, the only regret I've ever had is not doing it 10 years earlier. So anyway, final thoughts on that. Thanks for joining us. Hope you got something positive out of that as well. The usuals, at Brodable Carl, if you could follow, subscribe my personal page.
My Instagram handle is Daniel Parker.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.